Hello everyone, it's Dana here with Love Soul of Flowers, and it's been a while since I've been able to get on live. Just crazy busy here, but we are here with a late night tutorial, and I have something fun, and actually it's inspired by what's behind me. People always comment on them in the video, so I thought let's make one of those. So I've got my square here, and that's what we're going to make tonight. The sale for up to 70% off is still going on. Our website is lovesouloflowers.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/lovesouloflowers, and that's where you can easily search our videos. We've got tutorials on lots and lots of things. And we have a share group. We also announce things first, usually in that group. So if you're not a part of that group, that is facebook.com/groups/lovesouloflowers. So if you're not a part of that group, join that group. It's fun. If you have seen our last week's posts, we had a contest. Again, we did announce it a bunch in the group. What we did was we had summer centerpiece contest, and everybody got the same flowers. And you can do whatever you want with them as long as it's a centerpiece. So that was really fun. The 3 winners were announced. They're going to get their prizes and their gift cards. But we're going to do another one probably for Halloween too. So stay tuned for that. But that'll be fun. It's always fun to kind of push yourself creatively, even if it's like not something you've done before. Sometimes those types of things get you motivated to just create. So that's what we've got going on. So today, like I said, we're going to make one of these. Now, these are obviously like wall hanging pieces, but this is the same process as you would do for, let's say, a flower girl hoop or any of the rings, any of that type of stuff, or if you make a wreath, you know, on one of these kind of thin styles. And so we're going to put some things together today. I'm going to show you how I make my base. Everybody does things a little differently, but I'm going to show you how I do mine. And you do need zip ties for this, and I also have sometimes you may need your floral tape. Again, for floral tape, I use actually electrical tape. So here we are. I've got some greeneries and some flowers here that are dyed. But I do want to say, you got to be careful sometimes with these things about burning yourself. Actually, I should probably have put something underneath this for the table, but sometimes these types of things where you're not like being able to kind of press something against something bigger, the process of burning yourself happens a lot. So just giving you a heads up just to be careful when you do a project like this where you might be pushing hot glue onto something that's not really a full background. But yeah, so with this type of thing, we always start with the back base of just greeneries and things like that. So I've got some greens here. I'm actually going to use my Cascading Willow because I do want it to kind of flop a little bit too. So I'm just going to cut a couple of these branches off because we're going to put that on first. And then I'll move this big bush over and start here. So we've got, again, this kind of really pretty cascadey stuff. And again, so if you're doing it for, let's say, a bridesmaid or a flower girl or something like that, you might want it to cascade a little further than if you're putting it on your wall, although you can cascade on your wall too, I guess. So I'm just making these in little bits to put down here. And again, if you don't want it to cascade off, you can just use a regular branch. But I actually want to kind of make an asymmetrical piece here where it kind of swooshes off to the side. So we always start with our base in the back. As you can see, I've got my greenery. I'm going to actually zip tie it. And you'll see what we do with these later in order to cover them and everything. But right now, I'm just going to start by placing my greens where I want it. And you might need a few zip ties. Also, again, your floral tape. You can use something like that to hold it onto your metal. But I'm going to zip tie it because it holds it nice and tight. We'll trim the edge in a minute. But I'm going to zip tie in the middle, and I'm going to zip tie on the edge. And then I'm going to let that stuff kind of flop to the side. And I'll hold it up once I get this zip tied in here to show you what I mean about kind of cascading off to the other side. So again, I'm making an asymmetrical piece. When it's a bridesmaid or even a flower girl, I do like to do some of that asymmetry instead of it just being like a line of stuff. So I'm just going to clip those down And this is kind of what I've got going on so far. And then I'm going to put some greens that go the other direction. And I'm going to make this one not as floppy, again, because I don't want it to cascade as much, because I'm going for more of an asymmetrical look. So I'm just going to treat these bushes, you can get a whole lot out of them. They're a very big bang for their buck. So I am going to just see how much I want over to this one side. Again, I'm not going to have it flip-flop down like the other side. So I'm doing a shorter piece on this side. And again, I'm going to zip tie the center. And like I said, don't worry about the zip ties right now. We are going to get to that. There's motorcycles outside that are real loud. Sorry about that, so you can hear it. All right. Trim it. And then I'm going to do one on the other side. If you're joining us, especially if you're new and you have any questions about just kind of any basics, you can ask those things too, even though, you know, we're making something here. If there's any questions about our flowers or how you treat them or any of that kind of stuff, we're always here for questions. If you are not watching this live and you do watch this on replay, feel free to ask questions too. We'll come back and we'll communicate and all that good stuff too. So let me just show you. So see, you can actually get like a lot of action kind of going. I'm gonna actually cut this off just because it keeps flopping in my face here. So this was to tie it up, but I can always add that again later. So again, like one's cascading and the other one's kind of loose. So you will have a front and there will be a back, and we will treat the back too. So don't worry about that right now. So now what's next is we're gonna add a little bit of this. Actually, we have this on our website, and I can't remember the word, meadow thistle maybe or something. I forgot what we named these guys, but they are on there and they're cute, but they have leaves on them. And I'm just gonna actually use their leaves for this next part. So I'm gonna trim off all the leaves. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do here. So now we're gonna make a kind of a bed in order to be able to press these flowers against it, plus also covering up those zip ties. So first I'm gonna kind of go through and glue these down right on top. I just press it down. And I like to make them kind of go in all different directions. I don't like to just, again, just a big straight line. So I am gonna make some kind of perk up a little bit, some go to the left and the right. And basically I'm gonna make a line of leaves so that we have a nice place to be able to press our flowers into. Now remember, like I said, if you were just joining us, maybe you didn't hear it, but this is the kind of project that, you know, you tend to burn yourself easier because you're kind of like pressing it into the air and hoping for the best. So, but we just want to make a nice cover for ourselves here where it covers, well, first of all, just to make it a bigger space to be able to attach the flowers to, but we also want to cover up any of our mess from our zip ties or anything like that. So, and if you've been catching our tutorials lately, I've been trying to do projects that are like quick and easy, because I think a lot of times we think that you need to spend so much time to make something beautiful, but it really doesn't take a long time. And I just want to make all crafts kind of accessible to wherever you are on your little flower journey. If you're brand new and you've never touched a flower, or if you've been doing this for a while. This cricket is bothering me. Is that cricket still? Did I go the wrong direction? You know, we just want to make things that are easy to make, but easy to follow, but also just to be beautiful. So, hi Tina, how are you? So, here's my front. So as you can see, I've got my little spriggy stuff, but I've got leaves. And I'm just going to do my back while I'm at it. And this is where, again, I don't go fancy on the back at all, but I do cover up the zip ties. Because what I've noticed, especially if you're using this as something where either a little girl's carrying it or even a bridesmaid, what I've noticed is that at least at some point a photographer is going to catch the back of it. Maybe they're swinging it, maybe they're just holding it in an angle that the back gets seen, but you don't want to leave an unfinished back. And I don't mean finish it like with flowers or like really pretty greens, but just where you're covering up kind of your construction of it. So I do the little bed of leaves, you know, even in the back. And then that way, no matter how we view it, it's not going to be messy looking. Okay, so that's my back. Now I'm going to flip it back over to my front. So now we're going to start creating. Now, here's something I like to do is like, basically, again, you have this small piece, and sometimes people say, how did you fit like that many flowers or those big flowers on something so tiny? And I think the key is, besides making your little beds of green, but also kind of gluing the flowers to each other. Once you get one down good, you're kind of building off of, you know, off of each other. Now, I'm going to do this asymmetrically, like I said, so I'm not going to put my biggest one in the middle. I'm going to let some of those little baby ones go on that side. So I'm just going to, like, heavy duty glue this little guy here, and I'm going to put him on this side. And I do like to make bundles. I don't like to go like a straight line. But again, this is where it gets a little tricky because you want to like press it and check it, but you also don't want to burn yourself. So, so be careful. So I'm just going to see where I want these guys laid out. I might want to bundle it in a different kind of a way. Got some little minis here too, but I've also got some other greeneries and some fillers. So I don't need to go crazy here with flowers when it's such a small space. This is another good project where having minis is helpful to tuck them into places. So now I kind of like lift up, and again, this is where I kind of adhere the flower to the other flower. So even once I get it down, I go in there sometimes like this, and I just kind of squeeze it in there, because that is what's going to give you more stability, because, you know, there's not a lot of space on these leaves, and I just want to hold it down until it's dry. And we have other fillers that are going to go in these gaps, so don't worry so much about gaps right now. I don't even think I need this orange one. I think I might just do these guys because I've got, like I said, some cute little fillers here. So I'm just going to do these guys here. And again, I don't want to go in a straight line, so I am going to like stagger them. I'm going to tilt them on the side. Where do you get those long glue sticks? I get them on Amazon, and they come in like a few hundred actually. So it's so nice because you're not reloading every 10 seconds. They also have glue ropes, which I used to use, and I really like them because you don't have to load a lot. But sometimes they get a little more expensive if you're buying a lot of glue, which I do. But also, like, if you don't have a lot of space, they kind of get like to be a nuisance. But if you're going to do a project where you have to go back and forth, they actually have like 6-foot glue ropes. You know, it might be, I mean, I might be exaggerating. It might be like 3-foot glue ropes. They might have 6 foot. Let me see. I think I want one more little mini here. I'm just going to do one more mini. Unless I want to use, let's see. I may not want one more mini there. I might put this one in my gap over here. All right. So again, I'm kind of gluing them onto each other, and that gives you more space than just, you know, the leaves and whatever, you know, you're building on. So that's helpful. So let me hold that up for you. So that's just with the flowers. And some people stop here, you know, where they just have flowers on there, but I'm a filler gal. I don't think anything is ever ready until you got some fillers going on. But you could totally leave it like this. It's kind of like a wild look, a little, you could even use, you know, these shapes for your flower girls now these days, or for your bridesmaids. I know the geometric shape's something that's kind of popular right now. So I'm going to take, my next is going to be our little fun fillers. And we always start with like the greenery type fillers first, and then we move to like the flowery type fillers. So I do have my little hop stems here, that you can find on our website. Like I said, if you're new to us here, our website is soloflowers.com, and you can find these faux fillers on the tab. So when you go on the website, there's a little drop down box type thing on the left with a little list, and these are all faux fillers, so you can go right to them. You don't have to go through all the fillers to find it, because we do have a lot of fillers now, and you just want to go directly to it. It's under the faux greenery, and you'll find all those fillers that I'm using tonight. So I've got the hops stems, and again, I'm being a little asymmetrical. I just pop those suckers in there. And again, I'm using a lot of glue, and I'm kind of gluing it more towards the flowers than I am pressing it down, because that's not really going to work too well to press it down when you have such a tiny little skinny place. Now I've got these like thistle looking things, and I know that I actually looked it up and I forgot the name again, so I apologize. But they are also in our faux fillers, and they're pretty cool looking. I love this kind of filler in a faux, because it's hard. If you get dried, they don't look exactly like they do, obviously, when they're alive. But some of these, you want this kind of filler stuff because, our flowers are flowers, but you need these kind of flowers. And so we've definitely added a ton more of like flowery type fillers, or, flowers that you can't really get made in wood because they're tricky shapes or things like that. So I'm just adding these again to my gaps. I like to make sure that both of my sides get something, even if it's asymmetrical, because I want to balance it. So even though like I put 2 of them in there but only 1 in there, it's not symmetrical, but it's balanced. Your eye can see kind of all the different things in all the different spots. And let me see if I need one here up on top, maybe on top. So I'm just gonna put one more on top, and then I've got just a few little star flowers to put in there. I do love mixing, the faux with the preserved and dried. Your eye just picks up the real stuff, and it just sees all that. So I kind of filled in my gaps. You want to make sure you kind of look, especially if you're not going straight across. Straight across is just not like a look that's my style. But you still have to look for gaps. But when you tilt them to the side like this, it definitely makes more gaps than not. So you definitely want to, check those. And then I have my star flower. I'm just going to put it now on this side. So as we know, because I'm cascading down this way, I'm heavier to the right on purpose. Again, some of that asymmetry. And I just want to see how long to cut my stems here. Sure, you can use whatever fillers you want. Depending on your look. I don't do a lot of German status because it tends to be prickly. So for weddings, because I do mostly weddings, I don't need a lot of that, but it's beautiful, especially for home decor. That would be very pretty for a home decor piece for sure. Nice and full. Okay, and then I put my little star flower just on that side. So again, you don't have to be symmetrical. Look, you've got some things going down here. This side goes up. I've got the balance between using those faux fillers, but this side's also got a little bit of extra something because, again, I'm building a little asymmetrical. But you could do the bigger one in the middle, and you can do very symmetrical. I know some people who can't make things that are asymmetrical because it just kills them. So you certainly can do where there's a big flower in the middle and the same things on either side. But sometimes just try doing some things different. Sometimes it's just about pushing yourself to try new things. And then you find like, oh, wow, this is kind of fun this way. This leaf needs to go this direction. And then you could always add more greens too. Like if I wanted my cascading portion to be bigger, I can go in and do a little, do another little trim. It's easier because now you can kind of tuck it into a big thick base. But you can get like a lot on these things. Like think about it. This has got like, a tiny little base, but we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers on it, a mound of fillers and greenery. So you know, don't be scared of these like skinny bases. Those zip ties will hold like crazy. And if you need, again, just to do something where you can't kind of get a zip tie in, you could always use your floral tape too. But see, you can keep adding. You can have, you know, a ton more greenery. You can just leave it like this, but this would be pretty on a wall. This would be pretty as a wreath. Sometimes with these, if they come with something to hang them and I want to give it to a flower girl or something, I've got some pretty strong clippers, not these kind of clippers, don't try that, but you can probably cut these off and then maybe just tie something over it, or you can, you know, cut that off so it doesn't look like a wall hanging. But sometimes you can keep it too, and I just tie a ribbon on it so that after they use it as a bridesmaid, they can hang it back up. You can do any shape. Again, this is the same concept to make bridesmaids or anything else, and it's fun. And again, look at how much stuff we got on it. Look at the back. So think about how skinny that little metal piece is, but we really got it nice and full. But that back is covered. Again, I don't do anything more than that for the back. I mean, you could put some fillers back there, but it's kind of silly because usually people don't see it. It's just in case you kind of turn to the side. You don't want it to look like nappy back there. So, again, so I like to build in this direction. And actually, I think I always make my droops go to the right. Maybe because I'm right-handed and I feel like that's the way it could. I mean, when you flip it, it's to the left. But when I'm building, I usually make things go down to the right. I don't know, just something I do. But I hope you like this. Again, things like this do not need to be hard. They don't need to take a long time. They don't need to cost a lot of money. Think of it. We didn't even use one full bush of the willow. We only used 2 snippets of this. And then the 1 branch of the little thistly things, and like a little tiny bundle of the starflowers. Like, this is a very cheap project, but it doesn't look cheap. And like all that greenery, you know, can do multiple bridesmaids, multiple flower girls, multiple hanging pieces. You could probably do all of these pieces like I have them behind me with just this, like, you know, that much greenery. And so these projects are cheap to make. But, you know, they use a lot of the design eye is what's important. So when you go to marketplaces and things, like the way you've designed it is more important than just kind of the cost or the, you know, what it is, because that'll bring attention to it wherever you are. So, and these are fun too. If you do markets, you can have like a board that you hang things, and you can literally put these on like as you're decorating a wall, and people might mix and match even if they want like a set of 3. For their wall or something like that. It's kind of fun. So this is our craft. I would love to see things that you make using these tutorials. If anyone uses this way of making it, you know, send us a picture on our group page. Again, that's facebook.com/group/LoveSoloFlowers. And that's it. That is our tutorial. Fast, easy, and beautiful. All right, everyone. I hope you have a good night and a great weekend. For anyone celebrating fathers, I hope you have a great Father's Day weekend. And that will be it for this week. All right, everyone. We'll see you soon.